Hi there, and welcome to this FPLreview.com video guide. This one is based on the market odds weight setting. So in this video, I'm going to go through, what it is, how it's generated, the ways to use it, and, the potential issues that you can run into it with it. So as a start, you can see it's set to 0% by default. And basically that means that all the projections are based purely on the massive data model itself. Now, changing that value won't edit the X-mins. That's independent of the market odds, but it will influence, the production rates and some of the baselines associated with each player. So, how many goals Haaland might score or assists, we can tie that to the market. Now, one note as well is that the specific market this is referring to is spread betting. And one of the benefits of that market is that it's two-sided. So there's a buy and a sell, which you could say is almost as a warm or a cold read of each player. In comparison, there's also probably the more popular anytime odds. The issue there is that that's one-sided, and often you'll find bookmakers use defensive odds. So if there's uncertainty around, a couple of players taking penalties, bookmakers will tend to assume, all of them will take penalties as that's the most defensive position, and it create a bit of distortion. So now how we might want to use this? Well, what I find useful is, to run solves at a few different settings, 0%, 100%, maybe whatever, 50, 25. A lot of this is down to personal preference. To see, is a move consistently suggested? Because, if it's consistent across different sources for the projections, it just gives us a bit more confidence in the move. So for example, let's run a solve with 0% and see what move comes up for this team. So Maddison to Saka, no transfers, Gusto to Zassi. And if we move this to 100%, will we get the same suggestions? Or will we find some new suggestions? So now, again, Maddison Saka looks like a good move. It's suggesting Gordon to Saka. And again, no transfers. So we can see, this move looks pretty robust across both the master data model and 100% market odds sources. Equally, you could just set this at 50% as a singular run, or maybe, depending on your own preferences, is maybe just run 20% or 75%, whatever suits, and maybe you have a particular preference for either source. That's up to you. Market odds is very good. Master data's my own suggestion in general, not a huge difference in it. But I suppose where you run into issues, I'll go through the specific scenario where, we really want to think about using the setting. Where you might run into issues is market odds are only available for one game week ahead. So any future projections have to be kind of inferred from this game week and previous game weeks to estimate what the future odds will be. In general, that's, pretty fine. Most projections are, reasonably stable depending on the opposition and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes, a penalty taker might be out, somebody else is going to be on penalties, and, you have to infer their future odds based on that kind of scenario, which can just cause that bit of distortion, which kind of leads into the scenario where this setting becomes its most useful, and that's when you're in a dead end. You're the game week before you play a wild card, you're in game week 38, or you're using a free hit. It's a single game week plan. And in that case, we're making no future inferences. We're using the specific odds for that game week. So certainly in that kind of scenario, I would suggest playing around with this. Again, not necessarily saying, oh, you need to go 100% odds, or you need to go 0%. But yeah, I'd be more inclined to play around with this